to Thought Provoking Tech. In this episode of Tech Tips, I'm going to be launching my new series, OneNote Snippets. OneNote Snippets will be short videos that describe or cover a certain feature of OneNote and allow you kind of choose and pick the videos that you watch based on your experience levels with OneNote and what you already know how to do and so on and so forth. I thought that would be kind of a better format than just one longer video about OneNote, which is a great note-taking app that can store all your digital information, pretty much everything except for very large files such as movies and pictures. There's better ways, honestly, to kind of sort those rather than OneNote, but you could even use it for pictures even. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. This first video will be a little bit longer. Kind of the getting started and laying down foundations for the entire series, so that with this first video, if you don't know anything at all about OneNote, you'll be able to jump in and then build your experience based on that. So in this first video, I'll be going over how to make a OneNote notebook. I highly suggest using the online notebooks, as they allow you to sync your OneNote notebook from your computer to your phone to your tablet and even on the web. It's very versatile and a lot better than having like one built into your desktop that you only can access from that computer, or if you sync like with Dropbox or OneDrive through the sync agent, you can access it on multiple computers, but it still doesn't give you that flexibility of getting on your phone and on the web. So I highly recommend that. To do that, you don't even need Office 365. You can even use a free Hotmail or Outlook.com account. With that, you get 5 gigabytes of free, which is going to be your biggest limitation. With Windows 7, you don't have the Universal Windows app, which is the old free version. Now the actual full desktop app is actually free. It's a lot more powerful, has a lot more features, it's definitely a lot more feature rich. And the features that it has is kind of expanded upon even the Universal Windows app. So I highly recommend using that one to get that. If you're on Windows 7, you can just download this app and it'll detect that you're on Windows 7 or similar, like I'm using the Server OS, which doesn't have the Universal Windows platform apps. And you'll get the setup OneNote free retail download. This is the complete OneNote 2016 download, as you'll see here in a second. If you're on Windows 10, it'll actually say that you already have the Universal Windows platform added, but you'll also see like other downloads here, and you'll be able to just select the Windows desktop and download it that way, and you'll get the exact same download. So you can have the full version for completely free. So it's kind of one-upping Evernote there, as giving you the complete program, and your only limitations is storage. So if you wanted to have a huge archive folder and keep that locally, you could. It just won't have that sync capabilities that the online ones will. And you can also get like the Office 365 home account and essentially get a terabyte of storage with the OneDrive desktop syncing app that you can use with OneDrive. So everything you put on OneNote will be put on your OneDrive, and that'll count against your storage. But with a terabyte, you literally have a ton of storage. It's really going to be insane to fill that up with a OneNote with OneNote notebooks without adding files to your OneDrive through the sync client or uploading them from your desktop like as backups or something. So just using OneNote is going to be really insane to use a terabyte, and it's going to be about the same price as getting Dropbox, but you also get the entire Office suite, which OneNote, the desktop app, is, as we already said, is free, but you do get Word and Outlook if those are interested or bring interest to you. So essentially, without further ado, we'll go to our Documents folder, which will already host like a default notebook, most likely. I've already created another one, but I'm going to go ahead and create one just for this this video series. So I'm making a new notebook. I'm going to call it OneNote Snippets, and go ahead and hit create. Now, this will open in the online viewer. Now, if you don't have it downloaded, it'll say download here, but it detects that I already have OneNote downloaded or installed. So it's going to let me hit edit in OneNote, and it's going to say choose which app. Now, if you have OneNote, if you're on Windows 8 or 10, you'll also see OneNote and OneNote 2016. Make sure you select 2016 if you're planning on using the full-on desktop app rather than the universal Windows platform app. After you do that, it'll load just like this. And in the online version, you can see that sections are over to the left, followed by pages, followed by the content. I think that's a lot more logical. But in the desktop app, they kind of switch that up where sections are on the top and pages are on the right, and then your content's kind of in the remainder. Now, one thing I always do, I usually have larger screens, a lot higher resolution screens. So if you have that screen space to utilize, I recommend bringing your notebooks, especially if you're having multiple notebooks open at the same time, and you can hit that pin button. That pin button will always show them to the left. Notebooks that you're in all the time, you can expand and show your sections over here. Another thing I always do is go to Options, go to Display, and go to Page Tabs appear on the left. It's the fourth option down from the top. That'll put page options on the left, so it kind of mirrors the online. So you kind of have the flow of notebooks, sections, or notebooks, sections, and you also have sections here if you expand it. Sections are along the top or expanded down here, and then pages. So you kind of have a more linear flow where you're not jumping back and forth to different sides. So on the desktop app, you can't do this on the online app, at least according to my experience. I don't use the online app as much. Usually use the desktop app just because the syncing's there. It's always loaded. I don't have to deal with internet, as I have a very slow internet at my house. So I don't have to always have to put up with the internet. If I have it synced, it's synced, and it can sync overnight, and so on and so forth. But on the desktop app, you can actually do section groups. Section groups are actually groups of sections, as the name implies. And when you're in the horizontal view up here, it actually gives you a whole fresh slot up here where you can fill it with more sections and just keep it kind of clean and organized. So if you have a section, you can have a notebook dedicated to school, but say if you just wanted to have a section group dedicated to your school notes, your class notes, and then you could take your notes here and you can have calc notes. Oops, I'm going to create a new section on a section group. You can do nested section groups and have stuff insanely organized if you really wanted to. Let's say you had calc notes from calculus, and then you had bio notes or chemistry notes or something. You can create another section for your bio notes, your chem notes. So I'll just call it chem. Sorry about that. It doesn't like the period, but you can very quickly handle that by just backspacing or renaming and backspacing. So now you see I kind of have a couple sections already made. If I really wanted to, I can create section groups for like chemistry and have like lecture notes, lab notes, so on and so forth, project notes, essay notes, and just have sections for different subtopics of that group. So, for example, I will do English. And in English, I can have book one. Or put one I had to read in school, Heart of Darkness. My keyboard is being weird. Dart. And so on and so forth. So as you can see, I kind of have a book on that. I can take notes on the book for my essay that I had to do on this book. I can do notes here for that book and kind of just keep it really organized. And then I have this main notebook that is just the big school thing. So it's all drilled down. It keeps it nice and organized based on subject. If the subject's you're going to have a lot of notes for a certain subject, or you want to keep projects separate in their own little section, you can easily do that. It has a lot of flexibility in how you handle it. Or you can have your entire notebooks dedicated to school, or even a dedicated notebook just for English. However you want to do that. It's very flexible. It doesn't. You don't have any limitations of how many notebooks you can have. It's just based on your storage that you're going to be throwing in there. And like I said, you get 5 GB of free. And if you're just taking like notes and maybe some pictures, it's going to take a lot of time to actually utilize 5 GB of storage. If you're doing a lot more than that, like if you're doing a lot of embedding, which it is very strong with embedding, and it makes it a very powerful program if you embed a lot of content into it, it will actually start adding up faster. But if you're just doing like mainly notes or and text along and things on those lines, it's actually going to take quite a while to actually fill up 5 GB of storage. So that's kind of like the basis of trying to creating a notebook on the cloud that you can synchronize on your phone and your desktop and so on and so forth, creating sections and creating section groups, and then your pages, and just kind of organizing OneNote to kind of fit what I think is like the best setup with your notebooks, sections in your notebook that you're currently using expanded, and then sections also along the top with section groups to really organize your notebooks if you want to have larger notebooks that you only have to sync like one notebook. After using OneNote for quite a while, in the Evernote days, I had a lot of notebooks that were greatly or more fine-tuned to a certain subject. In using OneNote, the longer I use it, I've kind of condensed to fewer and fewer notebooks that kind of focus on very different sets of data, more almost based on who I want to share it with. So I have a notebook that I share with my wife that we kind of do all of our family stuff, archive pictures and stuff along those lines of the family and stuff. Then I have notebooks. We have several notebooks for my main work, and I have like a notebook for all my projects, and I kind of just have that organized by electronic projects, 3D printing objects or projects, and so on and so forth. So I've kind of narrowed it down just because the section groups and sections allow you to actually have this very organized within one notebook. And having that one notebook makes it very easy to synchronize on your phone and different computers because you only have to open one notebook. The downside to that is if your notebook is old or you throw a lot of data into it and at a rapid pace, it's going to grow in size. So when you have to open it on a new computer, it will take longer to sync because it has a lot more data in it. So just keep that in mind. So thanks for watching. I hope this video was informative and that it'll form the basics and the foundations for our next videos in the OneNote series. They'll be on very select topics, so you'll be able to kind of pick and choose what kind of relates to you, what you're wanting from OneNote, and maybe stuff that you've already learned on your own. You can kind of just skip those videos and just select the videos that really pertain to what you're wanting to do. So if you liked this video, make sure you give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I will also post a link in the description for our MC community where you can discuss this video. Any questions that you have, I can help you get stuff set up and get ready for the next video. So thanks for watching.